So today in your lesson, you're going to be choosing a graph and then creating a story based off of that graph. So there are two different types of graphs you can choose from. Remember, we have speed graphs, which we classify as an I don't care graph, and we have distance graphs, which we classify as abs graphs. And remember, those letters simply stand for the type of line. So the graphs may look similar, but here on a speed graph, that line going up means to increase. The line going down means to decrease. And this straight line means constant speed, not changing. Here on a distance graph, the same type of line means to move away from the starting point. The line that's coming down means to go back towards the starting point. And the straight line means to be stationary, or another word is stopped or still. So today you're going to be looking at a graph. And whatever graph you choose, so say this is a distance over time graph, you're going to see some different types of lines on the graph. And the first thing that I would do is focus on labeling the lines. So distance, so we're looking at an abs graph. So this would mean away, back, stationary, away, back. And your job is to come up with a story where something, someone, an object, a person, an animal, whatever, is moving away, then they're coming back, then they're staying still, then they're moving away, and they're coming back. And that story can be whatever you can think of. Again, this is a distance graph, so maybe you're talking about camping or hiking. So you walked away from the start of the trail. As you were moving away, you saw some storm clouds, so you thought it'd be a good idea to head back. So as you turned around to come back towards your starting point, it started to rain, so maybe you hid under some trees and you stayed in the same spot for a few minutes. Then the clouds started to move, and so you decided it was a good time to go back on the trail, and so you kept walking down the trail a little bit further, and then you saw a bear, and you ran all the way back to your starting point. So it doesn't really matter what your story is about, but your story has to match your graph. That's the big thing. If you're doing an away, back, stationary graph, your story should be about something moving away, coming back, staying still. But if you're doing a graph that's a speed graph, and so we've got speed over time, again, we could have the exact same type of lines. But when you label these, you would have increase, decrease, constant, increase, decrease. And this can be driving a car, running a race, whatever it is. Maybe you are getting your driver's license. So you are at a stop sign here, and then you go to push the gas pedal, so you start moving. You end up going too fast, you're speeding, so you put the brake on just a little bit. You get to the correct speed, you're at the speed limit, you drive the speed limit. Then you see a burglar, and so you're trying to catch the burglar, so you increase your speed. And then your car dies and your speed drops down to 0, right? So it can be whatever you want your story to be about. It just has to fit your graph. You wouldn't talk about moving away and staying stationary when you have a speed graph, and you wouldn't really be talking about increasing or decreasing your speed on a distance graph. So remember to make sure that you understand the differences in your graph. When you write your story, use correct punctuation, capitalize the words that need to be capitalized, and make sure your story makes sense. I and Mr. Parker are going to go over the graphs and the stories, and we're going to choose a few that we really like, and then we are going to have you guys see if you can match the correct story to the correct graph. If you have questions, you can send us a message or just do your very best, and we will work on it when we get back. If you finish this lesson early, you can go back to this week's assignments where we were talking about, where we had the Nearpod and the Ed puzzle. Otherwise, make sure you understand graphs because you do have a quiz over this on Friday. Okay, have a great day, guys.